Thank you. Good afternoon. So I think she has given me a lot of challenges. First, talking after lunch, immediately after lunch. Second, topic which is very close to my heart, digital transformation, finishing in 20 minutes, and many, and many more. So what I will do, I'll just walk you through not trying to define what is the future digital transformation for the organization, but just to give you my opinion over the next 15, 20 minutes. And I think the speakers before set up a good stage for me to talk about this topic. Let me start by what Tata Projects is. I think many of you may know, but Tata Projects has a very large EPC organization which is delivering projects across the world, primarily in India. Key projects like Parliament in Delhi, Mumbai Trans Harbour Link, Rajasthan Refinery, some of the projects which we are doing. So we are doing all these projects, constructing it right now. Approximately 10,000 people. Our motto is simplify and create. A project has many complexities, but we want construction to be the least of them. That is our primarily motto. So this is just wanted to highlight before I step in, because sometimes when you work in an organization, you get biased. So you may not get an overall view. So I thought would be good to talk about Tata Projects. So I firmly believe that going forward, digital transformation will not, I should say it will not be called a digital transformation, it will be business transformation. I firmly believe that CIO are now poised to become CDOs, to become chief business officers, to become chief technology officers, being in a position where their KPI is really 50% would be around business and 50% would be making IT sustainable, considering sustainability coming in the phase. So practically, IT and digital will be the core for running any organization in the future. And that is why I feel that there's no distinction between digital transformation and business transformation. You must be seeing it, but it is going to become a backbone for any business moving forward. Already started it to some way, but it will going to increase and increase going forward. So at a very high level, I just want to talk about a few things, what we must change, how we should change, what are the key factors around digital transformation which we should consider, some key insights, and lastly, how can we make our business sustainable? That is the topics I'm going to cover today. At a very high level, if I must say, what must change? So basically, we all know that economy's headwinds pull autonomous business forward, question mark, high inflation, labor shortage. Not only labor in construction industry, it is manpower shortage across industries. Everybody, all countries across the world are looking at India to provide them consultants, to provide them IT and digital resourcing, which is putting a lot of pressure on our economy as well. And because of geopolitical things, supply chain is also disrupted. With all these things in mind, the common theme is change. What should change? Architecture must change. How we are architecting our digital, we need to look at very, very differently. So composability becomes very, very common. Platforms must change. We are still trying to buy commercial off-the-shelf softwares, but not integrating them effectively. And there's so many of these things. When are we going to start building a digital fabric around it? And above all, organization must change. Business should become more and more empowered. That is why I said that the CIOs will be the core of the business moving forward. I would say, unless we elevate this position and the thought process, it is going to be difficult for organization to sustain moving forward. So with many of CIOs in the room, I think most of you may agree, but it needs to get elevated more and more in the business and getting more and more empowered. How should we change? This is interesting. So we need to optimize our digital ecosystem, and that has to link with our business very, very effectively. We need to look at apps and infra observability in terms of how we can scale up our applications without disturbing what we have. It should not happen that the change becomes too much for the teams, not being able to manage. So how can we do that? Risk and security management, as much as we can invest, can we avoid risk? Maybe, may not be, but however we can bring predictability to business. I think today IT is on the cusp of that thing where IT can define the predictability of the business, because if something goes wrong, how fast we can bring it back. That is very, very important. Scale up. How we can scale up using cloud, edge. And there's so many things happening. What should we do? India, should we put on the cloud? Should we put on-prem? How should we do it? Quarterly basis? Should I do 6-monthly basis? Platform engineering, another thing which we need to start building digital platforms instead of building applications, just build applications. And ultimately, digital value realization. This topic we keep hearing, and I think everybody wants tangible benefits. Nobody wants to look at intangible benefits. One thing which we all need to focus on is tangible and intangible, both these things, and pioneer the digital fabric. And when I say fabric, unless everything in an organization comes on one fabric, I don't think we are doing justice to the business, because still it will operate in silos, it will have difficulty, and we will be under pressure to be able to operate, because BAU is taken for granted now, that it will work. Nothing to be done on BAU. So how do we make it work? Adaptive AI, what we are seeing, what is happening with ChatGPT. I think my speaker before me, talked about it, how somebody became comfortable and everything changed after that, and blockchain. So really, business teams need to interact with IT more and more and build a digital landscape. This is very, very important. If they don't do it, it is a problem. And also, we are entering into a stage where we have to change our model. Can we do design one, build many? Can we build one platform and keep changing it? These are some of the thoughts I want to leave you all with, defining a future of digital transformation, because for me, these are very, very critical aspects, and how we can build our citizen developers. We keep talking about it. Everybody is digital savvy. They may not say it, but everybody uses mobiles. Everybody uses multiple applications. How can we train them, but in a controlled environment, so that organization does not lose the benefit of what has been created, because people will move up the value chain slowly, slowly. Some trends, I want to talk about some trends which are impacting us, all of us really. Data is one. I think speaker before me talked about it, data in a very, very large way, and how does it impact. This is practically, we are going to a world where most of the manpower needs to be more data science enabled. So that is what we need to look at, not just storing data, how we can leverage data. Analytics, how it can be more predictive. Not just giving me lagging indicators, but give me leading indicators, because businesses needs to run on leading indicators, not on lagging indicators. RPA, a lot of us are using it, but are we using it to the fullest of its capability? No, because the business is not keen. That is why it's very important that IT and businesses needs to work. They need to be smooshed together, really, to be able to work together, because that's how we can leverage IT and digital more effectively. I talked about AI in the previous slide. Control towers, now customers are asking, we want to do on the same platform because we want transparency. We want visibility of what is happening. We ourselves, I think I was talking on Uber and Ola, 2 seconds, 7 seconds, we are getting impatient. So the demands are going up. The customers or the consumer, the demand are going up on one side. Other side, all the peripheral things, the cost is coming up. The only thing to me which can balance these two things together, one is going up, this is going down, is digital, because otherwise we will not be able to survive. So to me, digital transformation is business transformation and is a recipe for survival moving forward. And control towers could be one place where we can leverage AI and ML, and not only bring our customers onto it, bring our partners, vendor ecosystem, everybody on those control towers, which is embedded AI and ML. And blockchain, we talk about it, how successful it is in the current environment. We may not be able to comment, but really speaking, a lot of potential these things have. So I just want all of you to be left with, at a very high level, these few technological trends, which we all should keep in our mind and not lose sight of any of these things. And all these things are encircled in a cyber security, cloud security, zero trust architecture, all those things are taken for granted that we will keep doing those things on a regular basis. So now, what exactly are the key factors which are impacting digital transformation? This is interesting because many of us have been on that journey. Do we get all our benefits? No. Why we did not get it? Somebody will say to blame somebody will say something else. But really speaking, setting expectation, did we set the expectation right? Did we align with business that we in IT and digital set expectation right? This is what you're going to get. Did business set expectation with us? What they want from us? And that is a big gap. And what is happening due to all these things, the whole digital transformation efforts comes down. And many of us in the room get into pressure. This did not work, how successful it was. And then question starts becoming between technical and functional. Was it a functional issue? Was it a technical issue? But really both the things are a combination of together. Unless they are so intertwined today, unless they work together, we won't be able to achieve nirvana. Adoption. How good tools you make if people are not adopting it, or the systems you make if they are not using it, how do we do that? So culture is a very, very big thing. In our industry, we have something called, I'll give an example, where safety is a big thing. So we say safety should be inherent, and people should think about safety even when they are not at work. Similarly, we should not do digital because we are being asked to do digital. We should do digital because we intend to do digital. And that is where the whole digital transformation or business transformation strength lies in. And lastly, processes and tools. Again, the intertwining of the processes and tools is really important. We are now living in a world where we need to change or tweak our processes because a tool is available in that manner. If we get too stuck that first I'll define the process and then go to my tool, it is going to become a problem. Many of us in this room are engineers. We see everything, logic in everything. We try to make sure that, okay, we will talk in bullets. We will just think that somebody else will understand it, but they may not be able to understand it. So we have to take processes and tools hand in hand. Nobody talks of process transformation now. Everybody talks of business transformation, digital transformation. I think the same thing will happen with digital transformation. It will become business transformation in no time. Some of the key insights, to drive some strategies as we keep moving forward. And just a few ones, what is my digital business strategy and culture? Both of these things we need to work, because if strategy and culture are not right, we become too tactical at times. We still need to be more strategic in our thinking process, in the roadmaps what we are laying, and that is a success for all of us in this room and for our businesses as well. Simultaneously work with the culture also, because we are equally responsible for changing culture like my business teams are. How can we make our employee and customer engagement increase, that we involve them earlier in the game than later in the game? Customer centricity is becoming a big thing, because that is going to define what the customer wants. We may be thinking that this is what we are doing, but customer may not be keen to get it. So it's very important that we do not push them, but take them along. Now, it's easier said than done. I fully, understand, and on some of the faces, it looks like that. But it is very, very important. Unless we take them along, it becomes really difficult. Process and innovation. We are in a situation where the companies are either thinking of process excellence or innovation. Now, you can't do process excellence and you can't segregate innovation from it. These needs to be done together. If you don't bring process and innovation together, you will only changing your process, tweaking it, but you're not doing innovation. If you do innovation, you're not doing your process excellence, another problem. So these needs to come together. Technology. There's so much of technology in the market. Which one to use? Which one is more effective? Feedback. And I think forums like this will help us, all of us, to connect. And I think we should have more forums where we can share about technology insight, what is happening, what we can learn from each other. That is really, really important. And lastly, data analytics will hold the key also. Then only we can think of a successful digital transformation. Now, how do we make business sustainable? This is, going to be key elements of digital landscape. Embrace change. Now, we are expecting that the business may change their way of working, but are we changing our way of working? We may need to look at that. And how do we make that happen? It's the most difficult thing, I would say. We are very good in building tools. We are very good in not only scaling up those tools, but even in UI, UX, but how do we embrace change? That's very, very important. Customer centricity, I talked about earlier, but it's very important that we keep them at the center of everything what we are doing, because ultimately we are taking it to our customer. Our industry, the customers, when you do EPC projects, you're making a bridge. What is so digital in a bridge? You're making a bridge. But there are so many things which we can do in a bridge. We can make repeatable designs in a bridge, which the customer can take advantage. But we may not be thinking that way. Turn a document, we respond to that document, and build a bridge and move on. What do we learn from there? How we can make it fast? So digital is going to define the future. That's very, very important. And what customer wants, if the customer is going to execute the same bridge in a similar manner, are we ready? Have we learned something? Have we documented those lessons learned there and made it more AI enabled so that we can get insights when we bid next for the project? Data science enabled. This is really important. I believe that 30% of our staffs in the future will be data scientists. Because data handling is not an easy thing to do. And if that is the thing, the future, what we do, how we can make models will become really important. User experience is also very, very important. How we can focus on journey mapping. Agile methodology. Now, Agile in one way is very good. People talk about agility, we talk about sprints, but is sprints killing us? Because we feel that we will make one sprint, something wrong, take them to the next sprint. Something wrong, take them to the third sprint. So how can we take people who are working on sprint, make them more intelligent in bringing them to the same page so that they can not just do garbage in, garbage out, they can also contribute in the process. How we can do that? That's, I think, biggest challenge, not only for us, but for the whole country, because a lot of dependence India will be having, everybody will be having on India moving forward. Invest in talent. That is, one thing which we need to keep investing. And when I say invest in talent, it does not mean that we get new talent. It also means how we are investing in our own existing people and bringing them, upskilling them, and taking them to a different value chain. Because going forward, repeatability will change a lot of tasks. How can we upskill them? So every time we talk to HR, they talk about we are going to bring this person from outside, we will do this, we will hire new graduates. That's all good, but how are you upskilling your team? Are you making one of your engineers who's working in IT infrastructure a data scientist? No, he can't do that, or she can't do that. Have you checked? Have you tried to work on it? So I think investing in talent also means really, really important. Then only we can make the business sustainable. And going forward, many companies have started this. I don't want to name them, but they are checking digital aptitude when they're hiring people, of how adaptable they are. There are tests they have now built in the system where they're checking their digital aptitude. Because if they are not digitally enabled in their mind, don't want to work on a process, they may not be fit in a agile world what we are in, and collaborate with partners. Our competition has become our partners. So how can we make and work together so that we can collaborate with partners? So these are some of the key elements I wanted to share with all of you, and these are some of the insights which in my 25 years of work experience I've been able to understand, learn in different places. Everything is not successful, but yes, there's a lot of learning on the way. Some of these things I thought I will share with all of you and get all of your views. And one particular thing which I saw very recently, and this caught my eye, and I thought to share of all of you. This is not, I have not done this. I have picked up from internet this particular slide, but this is 9 digital transformation truth rewritten over last 4 years. And this is really, really important. Automation is not an option. So this is the first thing at the center of this, but really speaking, slow and steady no longer wins the race. Digital front end is no longer enough. Work no longer means a shared office. Change management is not an excuse. Business leaders don't always lead change. Big organizations can learn from smaller ones. Digital transformation matters for knowledge workers and frontline workers as well. I can give you an example. As a CIO, I go to sites, project sites. When I go to site, I have a demand from a person who is working and executing work that, sir, we do not want to fill this paper sheet for asking for material. We want to come, get our mobile and say, this is what is the material available. This is issued to us on this date. This much they have consumed. That's a demand from them. So frontline workers are also asking, blue collar also, not only white collar. Now gray collar as well are there. And you need Renaissance people, not just niche specialists. These are the few of the 9 trends I wanted to share with you and leave a thought with all of you. And maybe this may help us, including myself and all of you and your organizations, of sharing my thoughts on what I feel a future of digital transformation should look like. With that, I think this is my last slide. Thank you. Any questions which I can take? Or any comment or any opinion anybody has? Would be good to learn from all of you as well. Thank you. Thank you so much.